And welcome back to the Starladder Invitational panel here at the Kiev Cyber Sports Arena. You are playing against OG. You do not ban Furion because you can counter it. Guys, joining me on the panel is Fogged. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Gods.
That's me.
Alan, you mess up your memes, you mess up your introduction.
I'm a mess today, guys.
We've had
what do you
problems
want?
working with Alan in the past. And,
I hope that's not me.
Yeah.
I'm joined
Both
by
Alans.
Gods and by Ryu on the panel here today, and it did seem, I was going to segue into the fact that it did seem like OG and Navi, who ran the Nature's Prophet at the carry position, have really gotten a lot more out of that hero than any other team at the tournament.
Absolutely. And I think the key part there for me is that it doesn't take away like the utility of the offlaner, because the successful offlaners we're seeing are much more the kind of team fight initiators and these kind of tempo controller type roles. So that's where you can put in the Slatter as well with the Nature's Prophet, and there was some great synergy there where they completely itemized and drafted around countering the Spirit Bearer Bulldog, because once OG got off to this good start, the comeback mechanic for Alliance was, okay, we hit this Radiance timing on Lone Druid. Now can this kind of carry us through and turn the game around? But you've got all this minus armor. They itemized towards an Assault Crest on a safe lane Nature's Prophet. They had the minus armor from that. They had the Slatter with minus 20 from his ulti. Then they got a Desolator. Then they got a Solar Crest towards the end. The Bear never stood a chance this game.
I want to just go back to the laning stage that'll help us, see what happened. And it was just kind of like Miracle. Like I don't know how he just randomly backed out right as Ake was just coming right there. I mean, that is where you start getting S4 into the game. Like him having a fast Blink Dagger and able to, tempo control, it would have helped him out tremendously. But it didn't happen because those ganks failed for the Enchantress. And we talked about the Enchantress. If you don't have a really good early game, we saw like the CM having more net worth than the Enchantress at 15 minutes in the game or something crazy. But yeah, this first team fight here is this is really good. This is what we were also going to talk about where, they were both kind of smoking up and they baited Bulldog. Sure, Bulldog died here, but they were able to get so much out of this for Alliance. But the next team fight, if they do show it, is when, OG, they got Bulldog and they killed him before they were really ready. Yep. So it was kind of like all unloaded for me, at least, to carry this game for the next 10 minutes so that Bulldog can get his Radiance online.
There was too much on.
Yeah, here. This is kind of the changing point of the game.
Well, I think what OG realized is, okay, if Loda's there, we're going to lose the fight. Let's go and gank away from Loda and avoid him as much as possible, because he's the key Alliance hero at this stage of the game that needed to buy them time. And as well as Loda played, to me, he was the MVP as far as Alliance goes this game. There was too much and too many places he needed to be.
Once he was just 5 seconds too late to that team fight. You already lost.
Yeah, and when you say 5 seconds too late, it was more like it wasn't like a mistake on his part. It was OG's good play to go and gank away. Like they see Loda somewhere on the map. Okay, he's at mid lane. Let's go into the jungle away from Loda. Find the kill there on Bulldog. And then the fight's going to go in our favor because we have the numbers advantage.
Yeah, to me, a lot of this game was how well OG was able to react and control S4's puck. OG had to know that hero was coming into the series. S4 finishes 2-8-4 on his puck. 8 deaths is the highest total out of any hero in the game.
CM carry here.
Yeah, that was amazing. You really saw, though, that people talk about Ember Spirit even potentially being a counter to puck because puck can't blink out of that or phase out of that searing chains. And Gods, we were talking a little bit off camera about the fact that Doom isn't necessarily by himself a counter to puck because of the long Doom animation. Well, when puck is searing chains in every fight, he just doesn't have that mobility.
And the Shadow Blade. I mean, Crit just showed you
really
why
well.
he is an amazing support player and understands this game perfectly. He just, okay, I'm going to get Shadow Blade. I'm just going to make sure that nobody can go around the map and do anything.
And even though the reaction to that is going to be Alliance, they buy that early gem, they ultimately lose the gem, you force them to invest money into gems, sentries, and when a team's playing from behind and they suddenly have to spend all this money on detection just to try and maintain map control, they're going to fall further behind, and you've already gotten some value out of the Shadow Blade just from that first kill or two, so the item kind of pays for itself even when it gets countered.
Yeah, that was a pivotal engagement right there exactly because of the gem. We were talking about that as it happened, that if Alliance had somehow been able to bring down Crit and pick that gem back up, that's a big fight for them and potentially shifts some momentum in their favor. But OG just executed perfectly.
Yeah, I think the big kind of story for me, like looking at this game in a more broad picture, was that Alliance just had this mid game where they were waiting for the bare ratings to come online, and OG just put too much pressure on during this period. It was less so about like, oh, Loda's got to be the one to kind of keep them alive in this stage of the game. It was more OG recognized this is when Alliance are weak. This is when we're going to take control of the game, and they just got fight after fight going their way because Alliance, during that period where Bulldog has like 1 to 3K gold, he's trying to get his relic up. Alliance aren't ready to fight.
It's all about the tempo controlling, right? And it's where Moon did more work than S4. And it was just like it. Moon was able to farm up the Blink Dagger at a reasonable time, and that's just because they went around and they ganked Bulldog and they successfully shut him down. It was where, at the beginning of the game, Ake really needs to get at least 1 or if not 2 kills onto the Miracles Ember Spirit in the mid lane here, and that would have helped out S4 tremendously. Like we talked about, if you shut down S4 or he doesn't have, I think he has to have great starts, not just a good start, so he can at least tempo control for this team. And when that happened, it was just very hard for them to come back. And
yeah, there's the finish from S4 there. Two kills, 8 deaths, 4 assists. Just not what we're used to seeing from him on one of his signature heroes, really. And yeah, I mean, it's just such a big part of the story of the game.
Needed Spectre. Puck and Spectre.
Yeah, I wondered about that.
That's
actually
quite funny, but how all of his wins are with Spectre. But
no, it's one of the things actually that I was thinking about, and we mentioned in the pregame show, was just the idea that Lone Druid was regarded as one of the, if not the strongest hero on the patch by a lot of teams going into Shanghai. And at Shanghai, we see teams like MVP, very tempo push teams, locking down the Lone Druid, putting pressure on that hero before they complete the Radiance. That was very much what happened in this game. Alliance just at some point was just not able to create enough space.
Yeah, and then if you can get enough done before the Radiance, then you can itemize to deal with the Radiance, which is, again, goes back to all the minus armor. They had the Sprout as well. The CM ended up being a great pick. And it's hard to have a look at the CM and be like, oh, she had a huge impact on this game. Her biggest impact didn't come from like, oh, frostbiting the bear or like an ulti here or there. It's actually the Brilliance Aura. That is the biggest thing the CM brings to the table. Doom does as well as he does because he has constant mana sustain. This is a hero when roaming that you'll often run into mana problems. You have to kind of choose your moments when you want to use Scorched Earth, when you want to use the Infernal Blade to harass because you're quickly out of mana. Similar thing where you find the Satyr creep or like an Ensnare creep, you want to use those neutral creep spells, you run out of mana quickly.
It's also the Slardar too.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Yeah,
you don't have to get like 2 or 3 mangoes now on Moon, his favorite item, and he can just go around the map constantly, crushing everybody. And I think, yeah, a lot of this game, they had everything thought out really well with late game, the minus armor. Like they made sure they won the early game, the mid game, and as well as the late game just with their lineup.
Yeah, I thought they ended up getting a lot of the value out of the Nature's Prophet pick indirectly at the end of the draft via that surprise Slardar pick. We didn't even necessarily pick up on this until I saw the player tags in game that they were going to switch Moon onto the Slardar and run No Tail into the safe lane Nature's Prophet. And I think that caught Alliance off guard as well.
It's a good hero, too, when you're running against a Lone Druid. It can zone him out of the lane. It's like one of the heroes that Lone Druid actually can't just run over in those 1v1 situations. So you can put a lot of pressure onto them. And then we saw the rotations coming in from Crit. We talked about it, how he got that early Satyr creep during the game, and that was tremendous for him. That allowed him to go to the mid lane when they were making those rotations, and because he had that extra HP regen, the Scorched Earth, they weren't able to turn around. So there was a lot of kills that Alliance could have gotten early, but it just didn't happen, and that could have helped them tremendously in this game.
I don't think it was a straight up outdraft by any means. Like if those Enchantress ganks, well, the one Enchantress ganks works in the mid lane,
then you could pressure again or something, or go somewhere else.
Absolutely, like this could have been a very different game. Like you play this draft a few times over, and it just comes down to whether or not those Enchantress ganks work.
So that actually was going to be the next point that I was going to go toward with you guys. I mean, this game, relative to the level of play that we've seen from Alliance in this tournament up to this point, this game was definitely a step back for them. And so I was going to ask you guys, do you think that they need to rethink some things going into game 2, or do they say, look, we'll go with a similar draft, we'll execute a little better in the early game, maybe get some of those kills, and it's a different outcome?
Yeah, I think very likely we always talk about with Alliance, what's the key things for them, and it's to play their game. So we'll see them continue to play their game. And I think unlike some past losses where they've had to come off and say, okay, we're going to play our game, but we're going to change some heroes up here or there, I think the hero selections are fine. They're, again, unlikely going to get a Chen in game 2. Teams have realized very quickly Chen is the key hero for the general Alliance push strat, but they can work around it. So I think Alliance will see them probably run fairly similar draft in game number 2, and it's just going to come down to refining their execution.
Yeah, that Doom just worked out perfectly. So now we have to start thinking, all right, is Crit's Doom worth banning or not now, guys? And as well as I think another we talked about it too before that game is like I think Lone Druid. LD Gorman, that guy, no. But Lone Druid is
He's not good.
yeah, he's not good as what we saw from Miracle or Bulldog. But I think that's another great contention. Like I really do think OG want to get Lone Druid at least kind of early on, not first pick, but as like that second phase where they can just open up for themselves for Miracle. So I don't know how you guys feel about that, the Lone Druid as well as the Doom.
It really is telling to me that they took the Doom with the first pick when a lot of their other heroes were still on the table. Yes. It really is telling, we've seen this from other teams in this tournament, part of why I bring it up, how much that hero has risen in terms of team's valuation. We are inside the draft for Game 2, getting ready to see what the openers will be. Alliance here need a win to stay alive in this tournament, and again, hugely high stakes. I really believe quite possibly a Manila Major direct invite on the line.
So Alliance, this time first pick. They're actually going to be Radiant. So OG, one of the few times it looks like they'll choose Dire side when they have the selection of sides. So bit of a change up from them. And again, we'll see the similar first stage bans. I don't actually know if we'll see any changes despite first pick going the other way. For Alliance, you want to ban the Invoker again. For OG, the Chen, very likely again to be taken out of the pool. There we go.
Yeah, you can maybe change the Beastmaster ban if you want to play against it. It's not...
Yeah.
It's just depending on what they want to do with their kind of the lineup here. Furion, that's...
I mean, when Alliance is banning Furion first stage, like that's when you know, that really kind of tells the direction Alliance want to go with their draft, that they want the Beastmaster over this, but very likely we'll see OG again ban it unless they feel like they don't want to verse another Bulldog Lone Druid.
Well, I think it's a matter of Alliance have the Beastmaster or the Enchantress to choose from as their first picks, and I think the tempo that it lends to their entire squad when Bulldog's on that Beastmaster is enough to justify the ban.
So Wisp,
oh man, okay.
Say there's potential for Wisp from Alliance when they want to do it, and then Enchantress was going to be the immediate pickup from OG.
But you had to know you had to know as Alliance that was exactly what was coming.
Right, exactly. So you knew they were going to pick up at least Enchantress, maybe the Doom again, and so they're going to go for like the Na'Vi.
It does reveal a lot because getting the Doom with the Enchantress puts Doom immediately into that offlane role.
Not necessarily. They will. If any team would switch this up, it would be OG. I think you're probably right.
And then what? Run like a? You mean? Oh, as in run an offlane Enchantress.
Remember Moon's NA background, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Moon. I like his Enchantress offlane, but yeah, it's really hard for me to say. I still would give it to Crit. I mean, just he's played absolutely amazing on the hero. Doom, I would rather much have it in the offlane, but yeah, it's a lot of creeps that can be blocked out early on now. So you kind of want to do. They're doing what Na'Vi like to do. You pick the Wisp and you pick the Bat Rider early on. Obviously, it's not going to be for General this time. It's going to be for S4. So they have to think about it a little bit differently. And then, you're going to ban out the pairing heroes now. Chaos Knight, we saw how effective that was in some of the games. It didn't work out yesterday because they had Chaos Knight and Tiny. Maybe they shouldn't even ban those two out. Just make them have to pick it again.
Bait the double pick. It's a little too next level, maybe.
No, I'm just kidding.
So it is telling that Alliance are going to go ahead and take that Ember Spirit out of the pool in the second phase, and hard to argue with that based on what we saw for Miracle in the last game.
The Venge ban comes next from Alliance, so just taking away the obvious Bat Rider counter. I don't hope OG don't pick Oracle because that's a game loser.
Yeah, I'd rather have them Disruptor, but that's normally a Vega Squadron type of pick. But it's one of those heroes that's amazing. It's a Bat Rider in the laning phase. You can glimpse them back. Obviously, the same thing for Wisp. You can just set up for those relocates. It's just one of those heroes that you love watching, and then when you play against it, you're like, can I please stop feeding? I just want to go back to base, guys. Let me run away.
I still think you could justify a Witch Doctor ban here as OG.
Witch Doctor...
I wonder if there's enough supports in the pool for Aki. There's a limited hero
I'd rather have
pool
Alliance I'd rather have Alliance have Lion or Rasta right now. Like another good lockdown to, at least go around the map and setting up team fights. I don't like them having all out with a Bat Rider. I don't want them to have just all out, push or something.
They looked awfully good with Shadow Shaman yesterday, but I do question, as happened in the last game, they had two supports that were a little bit more on the farm-dependent side than, say, a Lion or a Witch Doctor, and I worry that you might run into that again, although the IO can slot into a hard 5 fairly comfortably.
Yeah. So they banned Crystal Maiden as the kind of counter pick to the Enchantress, the being able to frostbite the creeps. And OG,
OG's going to take the Rasta as a deny, I think.
Denied.
Yeah.
Yep.
Suckers. It's mine. It's kind of like what I thought about the Lone Druid last game, but
This is the same from OG as far as their drafting order. They're going to leave No-Tail and Miracle's heroes for the last 2 slots.
yeah, it's really nice to have that. Then you can just change it up, like, do we want to have him farming or do we want to have him farming? So it's a nice strategy here. I like it.
It means you can kind of, because I feel like Alliance more than other teams maybe reveal like what their kind of core strategy, like I mean their strategy often fairly similar, but they reveal like their key core heroes earlier in the draft than most teams.
Yeah, and I think they can get away with that because they just have that iconic playstyle that they execute so well. There is the Witch Doctor. I thought OG might take that out.
Yeah, this is why you got the prediction wrong last time.
Oh, I know. I didn't give you your trophy.
What?
You're
I didn't say
really
anything.
smarting over there.
What are you doing? I didn't say anything. I was just saying last game
The
how you
entire
get
last
it wrong.
panel, like while doing the panel, I could just see him. He wasn't looking at us. He was looking right at those gold trophies.
I know.
When's Nahaz giving me my trophy?
I mean, he
What's
just
going on?
Okay, so he's allowed to shit on me, but when I get something right, I can't get anything, right?
That's why I'm host, buddy.
The host rules all.
So coming up to the 4th pick for OG here. I
yeah.
love that. Alliance took it out of the previous draft. Love it here.
And it's a preemptive counter to a potential Bulldog Lone Druid, which is still in the pool. It's the main Bulldog hero left. And when you have this Witch Doctor Io, there's a ton of sustain. Io tether with the Overcharge actually works really well with the Bear and a push strat. So yeah, you've got the Io, but they could just draft Loader a standard hero for him.
Yeah,
like a Gyro, Lifestealer.
Lifestealer is very good and very bad in this game right now. One, because they have the Wisp to relocate for the Doom. That's why it's a good here. And then obviously the bad reason is because you're going to have that Doom for the Lifestealer. So you're putting all your eggs in that EGM basket. Whereas, you had the Brewmaster now. We saw this from yesterday, right? They ran both. So now they're going to take one hero out with the Doom, one hero out with the Cyclone. And I'm just loving this. This is TI3 era when you see just heroes can't do anything in the team fights.
Well, you mentioned TI3 era. It's always been interesting to me that people, when they talk about Lifestealer, talk about the Chinese scene. It's actually Loda and Era who are the career wins leaders on these heroes. They used to run this a couple of years ago and would just rack up win after win. Loda is very, very comfortable on this hero.
But they do. Okay, so this is like Havost plus, dang
Oh
it.
yeah, Havosh is up there as well. That's the third. Yep.
Plus, didn't he playing Batrider back then? Because Batrider plus Lifestealer used to be like Navi's thing, and right now they're just going to be having that vehicle to work with.
Yep.
And that's another good thing to have. It's also a really good counter to the Enchantress. We didn't really talk about it. You just rage attack her. And then she's not going to be able to do anything with her Untouchable.
Ooh, that's a really good.
I like that ban a lot.
So for Alliance, Lifestealer's a hero that will get kited. They've got ways to deal with him. The important thing is you get a secondary kind of carry here for Bulldog. He's a player that's always going to take up a lot of farm. Lone Druid, the one that stands out, but OG already have counters in place for him. So I'm like, okay, what else other than Lone Druid? He plays Weaver. He plays Brood. Brood would have been a very disruptive hero for OG that they can't deal with well. I wonder if Weaver's a consideration. It's another hero that doesn't match up great against Doom or Brewmaster with the evasion.
Well, and you've also got the roster for the secondary
it's very
disable.
squishy. I don't really think it fits in. So.
It's so hard right now because all Bulldog's heroes are out. So
do you run Bulldog Batrider? I wonder if that's almost like
he's not had the best success on that hero.
I thought I was going to say Lone Druid could be really good for OG still here. Like they need another miracle carry.
I actually think if
Alliance got an S4 hero last.
I think Alliance
OD.
might go Queen of Pain last.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
So do you go OD now if
For
you're
OG?
OG?
No.
You could.
They haven't got a good way to protect OD against the Lasso Lifestealer, so I think it's quite risky.
I still think they want to have a little bit of farming hero left for
Miracle. This is going to be
I mean, they could go Queen of Pain themselves, and then if you get a fast Orchid, you can shut down the Lifestealer as well as the Batrider. So there's definitely a lot of potential still with their draft here.
We're going to get to see I doubt it, but we could see the return of the vaunted Miracle Am. I still want to see that.
That was on mine.
The PL instead, yeah.
PL is very disruptive for Lifestealer to try and fight into. You can always make more illusions, doppelganger around, and when Rage isn't up, if you burn Lifestealer's mana pool, he struggles to fight.
Yeah, this forces them to go for probably a Mjolnir early on now
and that's
for
the thing.
Lifestealer.
Lifestealer can itemize to counter the PL, but then you're not going. Then you have to go this build, like to get the AoE damage to spread
and
around.
you actually have to have that IO because he relies on the drums and the Saint Yasha just because his movement speed is not enough sometimes because we talk about the kiting, and that's just what OG are going to do right now. It looks like they're just going to run rings and rings around.
It'll
Rings
be
in
interesting.
circles
Bristleback
and
is the other hero
everything.
that does pair with Io that could
Yeah,
be an offlaner,
they can
by the way.
maybe punish him.
And Bulldog has run that in the past.
That's a hero that doesn't care too much about getting doomed.
Now, PL, just to flag this really quickly, generally when OG have run PL in the past, it's been no-tail on that hero. Miracle is not typically their PL player. I'm going to assume that no-tail will be on the Brewmaster and Miracle on the PL, but it's something to watch for early on is how familiar Miracle is with this hero.
I think Miracle plays anything is the
Yeah,
good thing with this
yeah.
guy. He's not hero pool. Even going back to day one when he had a bad game on Sand King and stuff, like he's known for playing those heroes in pub games. So he's fine playing well, here it is a carry, but he's
Still,
fine
that's one
playing
of the things. That is one of the things that we talked about in the wake of those Puck Sand King performances. There is a little bit of a gap. There's little bit of a learning curve just because you're playing a certain hero at a high level in pubs.
What if you
doesn't
go
necessarily mean it
Magnus here
translates.
for S4?
Ooh.
I think they just don't have good late game.
Yeah.
They don't. I don't see
But
how they win the game with
what else
Magnus.
is left though? I mean, there's Puck.
Zeus is great against
Zeus
PL.
and Quap.
Zeus is
Crystal,
way
Quap.
way bad against the Blink Dagger coming in from Brew and then Split. You can take him out. It's just you can run on top of him very easy.
You need burst damage to follow up the lasso. Like Lifesteal is pretty good, but I think you need another hero that just dishes out damage fast. Queen of
There's the
Pain.
Queen.
Pain.
Yeah,
So
Zeus is too vulnerable to the early round.
It's exactly what we were talking about. Where it's as much as Batrider is S4's hero, what's Bulldog going to play?
Yeah, you
There's
have
no
to put
offlaners
Bulldog
left
in.
that work. The Batrider in the offlane just feels like the natural way to solve that problem, and then you pick up a mid.
All right, guys. Quick predictions as we go into game 2.
OG. Off the backs of an
I
amazing
think OG.
Brew.
They've got Doom again. I
Yeah,
like OG.
I'm going to go OG. I think they have the draft. I think they have their heroes, and we're going to take it right back out to our casters for game 2 as Alliance try to stay alive.
That's right. Thank you very much, Alan. I'm LD. I'm joined here by Fog. Fog, coming into the series, you said you thought Alliance would have the edge.
Yep.
I went with OG, but after the game 1 draft, I did like the Alliance draft. It just didn't pan out. Going into this game, before we talk about the teams, how do you think the draft stack up?
I like OG's draft just because the way that they had basically the same exact draft yesterday, except they instead of the Phantom Lancer, they had that Lone Druid, and I really liked the approach that they took. They actually played around the Doom, and they were constantly super aggressive. So.
Yeah, the team's just now entering the field of Dota. Getting ready, guys. This is game 2. A win here. OG will eliminate Alliance, move on in the best of 3. A loss, and we'll go to a deciding game number 3. So with that, OG going to be on the dire side, and it will be Alliance on the Radiant. And some flexibility here from OG. Yanni's coming into the series. When OG ran Doom, it was generally for Moon as like a 3-position hero, but they showed the flexibility to put crit on the hero. This time, though, it will be Moon taking him over, and instead they run the Enchantress for crit. So tough to know exactly how OG is going to assign their heroes, even when you see them drafted early.
Yeah, Ake actually even TPs into this bottom lane to get the lane ward down, so they're able to watch Moon walk into the jungle. He doesn't place the ward down.
Yeah, good discipline by Moon. Realizes it'll likely get dewarded right away. So.
Oh, do you see what EGM's doing? He cut the trees in the top area, like all these trees for the Bulldog.
Is this what's the play here? Is there double stacking going on?
Yeah, probably.
They don't really have anyone.
They just want to
Great
get the
to-
dragon, though, you know? They always want to get the dragon
For the Lifestealer. You're right. That's really smart. Yeah, generally you look at that like, do they have a hero to farm Ancients? But it's just about. We also see this with like Enchantress and Chen players where they'll stack a big cap if they don't like the creeps, just they can try and get something else and later farm it up.
Looks like Moon also found a way to get his ward down into the enemy jungle, so. But
Sneaky
I
stuff.
think he's going to get a sentry on. No, they're not going to bring sentries out yet. I wonder if they'd seen it. I wasn't able to catch that because I was looking toward the top lane, but.
Yeah, it's very, very unusual to see that particular tree break. Obviously, we used to see that in the old jungle, the tree break over here all the time just to get the double stack. But Alliance for now, they're going to be running something we saw from Na'Vi, the Queen of Pain IO towards the mid lane, and it's up against the Brewmaster. So No-Tail once again on the tempo controller, which seems to be where they're most comfortable, having someone that can fight relatively early. It will be Ake here, trying to zone out Moon, but Moon with the Infernal Blade. Going to work early. Loda is forced to come in and help, but
So
Ake taking
much
some
damage.
heavy damage, has not skilled anything. This is a good time to fight against the Lifestealer. No points in open wounds. You're generally going to get the Feast to level 1, so really no kill potential on the Doom right now.
It's pretty absurd how much damage you really see Infernal Blade do. Just with the boots, 2 extra right clicks. Of course, Doom does a lot of damage innately, but with that Infernal Blade, yeah, Ake got chunked down to 100 HP.
So what do you think Crit's looking for here as the Enchantress? We saw an early rotation last game from Ake, didn't work out. Queen of Pain, not the easiest hero to gank. And even Batrider's not particularly simple to take down. So
I guess it was
what's the
depending
play
on,
for him?
depending on what creeps he got. He ended up getting a Wildkin, so it looks like he's just going to stick the Wildkin on the mid lane to just help No-Tail out a bit.
As for EGM, he's also got a Wildkin and a Hellbear. And we'll see. Yeah, it does have the dragons already. So we will have the ideal Lifestealer creep. And you and I were actually hanging out with the Alliance watching some of the games on day 1 of this event. I remember Loda really felt Lifestealer was being undervalued. And you go back to when the hero got changed with the ability to take over Ancients relatively recently, and then the Dragons getting buffed. Like he was one of the first players to really experiment with that hero. Moon will get caught out. The open wounds come through. Maledict's there, forcing out the Scorched Earth, but it's only level 1.
He's gonna
Can
die
they finish him off? One more auto attack should do the trick, and Alliance will get on the board first with the first blood.
Yeah.
Okay, the man to get the last hit. But yeah, they really do value Lifestealer a lot more highly than some of the other teams.
Yeah, Skill and Maledict there was perfect. They get the kill because of it.
And no points in the Voodoo, and probably not going to need it after that kill. At least not early. So, as far as farm goes, it's a really good start here for the Phantom Lancer for Miracle. Meanwhile, being matched more or less by the cores of OG. Of Alliance overall. So it seems like all the carries are farming relatively well. Even in the mid lane, No-Tail's still doing decently with that single point in Drunken Haze to help deal with the S4 right clicks.
Yeah, he got his bottle and he had the Stout Shield to the start. And he has a lot of regen still. But it looks like...
Here's the smoke.
Yep.
Crit making his move. He wants to find Bulldog, and he did not quite lead with the Dark Troll at the right angle.
It was unfortunate timing, too.
Able to run away.
Bulldog was going there to stack, so he just kind of runs into him there now. GM
wants to contest this one, but they're actually going to look to run Crit down. They do have Firefly. He may be forced to commit the Troll Trap here. It turns slowly with the Napalm going, but they're going to kill that instead.
They're going to continue.
And he looks for the deny. Doesn't get it.
They didn't get the last sticky stack on him.
So a failed smoke, a free creep for Bulldog. Hope you're happy about that. Overall, seems like OG are getting a lot here out of the laning stage, aside from that first blood, though. As far as CS goes, the jungle advantage kicking in a bit.
Yeah, No-Tail's actually holding his own pretty well in Drunken Haze. That Arcane Rune's really going to help him out, too.
Brewmaster, not the best mana pool, so the reduced mana cost definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, and it's Fly's doing a really good job of just getting his levels in this top lane, pulling the creep equilibrium all over the place, so Bulldog's not able to get too much.
So there's always the plan B with Enchantress. If you can't find the ganks, then just look to control the lanes. And he sent the most obnoxious creep in this particular patch. That's the Satyr with the Shockwave spam. S4 blinking in. Uh-oh, 15
he got a
seconds of
haster on
cooldown. Crit might actually be able to kill him. If they can just get a couple of Shockwaves off, if Fly can get in range for a Shackles, that should be enough for the kill. And they find it. Stretch Armstrong arrives. Shockwave there, and they secure it. Zapped down by Fly. OG make it 1-1. And what a time to die. The mid lane pushing in, losing at least one wave, probably closer to 2 of experience. So EGM will soak that up.
Yeah, No-Tail.
Pretty big kill.
No-Tail goes and ferries his bottle back too, and now he's ahead of in CS over the Queen of Pain, and he will hit level 6 before him.
Meanwhile, bottom lane, they're pursuing Moon. They pop the Maledict, but he's got his own Satyr creep, so the Unholy Aura will help mitigate some of that additional Maledict damage.
Yeah, they do have a triple range creep down though in this bottom lane, so Moon's going to get a lot of experience if they don't try to dive him in some way.
Yeah, there's also Phase Boots on Lifestealer and Scorched Earth on cooldown, so he'll need to be careful. Loda forcing it. Open Woods comes through, and I think Moon likely to go down here. TP will come for the Rasta. They might be able to kill 2 off. Fly does have a point in Shackles, but Loda can go to work on him with auto attacks. He decides to play it safe. Not sure if anyone else is rotating, but they want to go back in. And I think Fly quickly realizes, if I stick around, I'm going to feed another kill.
Yeah, but yeah, they really didn't want him to get all that XP. They had to dive him there. And EGM has been playing a little bit different than we've seen many of these Wisps. Instead of just constantly helping the lanes out, he's just stacking up for Bulldog.
And they're going to jungle together now, so the pals in the woods getting some much-needed experience. Prioritizing that quick level 6. As we see Crit, meanwhile, trying to decide where to go next. Looks like he does have a smoke, and they have a Brewmaster split. So it seems OG want to try to use that first split to take some sort of kill, maybe even an objective. And there is no Radiant Vision of this right now, but they're close to a ward. They've already smoked.
Yeah, they're making the invasion play right now. However, EGM and Bulldog are pretty close.
And the smoke's going to break, and Bulldog's in a great position to scout it out. Can they get the Centaur stomps? 1. And, the cast comes through. It looks like he might be able to make it out in the end. Didn't get the second stomp off, and now immolating him, bringing him low. The tether from EGM, long distance save.
They break the regen, though.
So the first smoke gank, first Brewmaster split, actually second smoke gank, does not end up working out.
Yeah, let's see if they still try to... Yeah, they're not even going to bother trying to pressure the tower. So, bit fortunate there for Alliance having the Bat Ride and the Wisp there. Do you think we're going to see the Ancient Creep being used heavily this game, or do you think he's just going to go for that Armlet build that we've been seeing? Probably the Armlet build, right?
I think Loda, speaking to him, he did not, you know, he's like, yeah, the Radiance build is not an every game thing. So I think as far as build goes, he's more a believer right now in like the Armlet, sometimes drums, although he didn't seem as keen on the drums as some of the other Lifestealer players. So yeah, I would expect an early Armlet, maybe a Midas. Loda historically has been a lover of the item, but maybe a bit too greedy this game against OG. OG's 5-man in team fight just seems so strong, doesn't it?
Yeah. He has two really good vehicles, though, for his Infest Bombs with the Queen of Pain and the Bat Rider once the Blink is finished up on Bulldog, which it should be soon, but Bulldog is pretty under-leveled. He's level 4 at 7 minutes.
Now, once he kills the stack
Now
off,
5.
should be able to clip 5, close in on the lasso. But you're right, he's not having the best time in the off lane. Oh, where's Miracle? Just total free farm here. 49 CS, 29 denies.
The denies in this game are crazy. 29 on one hero, 30 denies on one hero, 17 on the other, 16 on Quap. Like,
I mean,
probably one of the most we've seen in a while.
You know, denies aren't as like good directly as they used to be as far as like preventing people from getting experience. So we tend to see less denying. But if you could just keep the wave that far back, then it kind of just shows the lane's empty as well. Like Miracle just is happily controlling the creep equilibrium for his team.
Yeah, it looks like they want to probably
no
push this
tail
top tower.
here. Blink forward. S4's got the ulti. No split. They know it's on cooldown. This is the time to strike, but EGM's low. Gets the crit. Gets the kill. Oh, unfortunate. Well, Alliance get a Brewmaster, but it's while his ultimate's down, and it's at the cost of EGM. Really good decision-making there by No Tail to just force the issue, chooses the correct target, prays to the RNG gods, and it comes up flush for him.
Yeah, pushing down the top tower for OG now. Boots of Travel finished on Miracle.
This is we actually, when we were hanging out with OG, Miracle was they were watching. I think it was OG. Miracle was watching Aggressive play in the PL. So
yeah,
this seems to be Aggressive's preferred build with the Boots of Travel. Normally into the Yasha Diffusal. Sometimes completes the Manta, but hey, look at this.
Ancient Creep.
Golem on the move. He's not going for the dragon, though.
Yeah, I guess it was just because it was closer to the bottom lane. He didn't want to have to move so far away. And what do we have coming out? It is the Armlet recipe.
So it is going to be early combat. I mean, it fits the lineup. The Quap's already online. The Bat Rider's about to. With the Infest Bombs and the Armlet, you have a ton of kill potential. So how do you feel overall? Look, Fog, like looking at the state of the game right now, Alliance slightly up in terms of gold and experience. OG, more of the team fight, pushing type lineup. Are you happy if you're Alliance? Have you gotten enough done?
I think you're feeling in a pretty comfortable position. I think it's very even right now, though. Like, No Tail never really is in that super heavy farm position. He's doing basically what he does normally. Now, Blink's revealed, Smoke is up, Harab Moon.
Lasso, Death Ward combining onto Moon. They're going to pick him up, and with the raid still going, Loda might get more. The Brewmaster split committed now. They're going to turn this one onto Ake Cycloning and keeping the Bat Rider out of the fight while they chase down the angry Witch Doctor. But there's the relocate. EGM, he's too late. He could end up going down here as well. Cyclone up in the air. Bulldog now with the Blink back, but they're able to lock him down a bit. Loda, though, is re-engaging, has a fresh round of spells now. The Rage as well as the Open Wounds, and they are going to clean up a couple of OG stragglers in the end. Didn't get off the Shadow Shaman wards. The Brewmaster split committed. And when the dust settles, a 2 for 3 in the end.
Yeah, Crit wasn't in position there to get there at all. He's only level 5 as well on this Enchantress. However, Fly did hit 6 there. He just didn't really have the mana or the position to get the wards off. That Golem. And finishing up that Armlet right there just perfectly on time.
So is this the tempo for Alliance? Relocates online every time Lasso's up? Are you just looking for ganks? Are you content split pushing and farming a bit more?
I think they're just going to keep looking for the ganks. Like, they've done such a great job of shutting Moon down in this game. He's 0-3, not level 6. He just finishes up that level 6 now. And they're going to be able to constantly put on the pressure. But now it looks like OG wants to do that as well. They don't want to be having to be that reactive force. Another smoke deployed.
It's tough for them to initiate, though, because they don't have a Blink on or a Shadow Blade on either of these tanky frontliners. So how do they start the fight? I guess it has to be a smoke.
Yeah, once they just need to secure a tower. They don't really want to secure a fight here. I think it's just we want to get this bottom tower because they wanted to do it earlier, but like I was saying, it got unfortunately broken by the Wisp and the Bat Rider. Meanwhile, Alliance going for the trade. And
Ah,
there it is.
Loda's favorite. This has to be the best creep.
Oh, by far.
Just because every fireball is a free creep wave. Lifestealer here that doesn't farm that well without the creeps. But this really
It's
accelerates
fast.
his economy.
It has a bonus armor aura that it gives to your team.
It's a
actually,
badass dragon. Like basically pretend you're Daenerys.
Yeah, exactly. It
with this.
does.
Feels good.
It gives you so much. And it's 2,000 HP, magic immune. Gives your teammates 3 armor, like I was saying, as well as creep wave. Great for pushing, and they're going to get a secondary tower out of it.
Yeah, he
Meanwhile,
wants to fireball these skeletons, but not sure it's worth the mana.
This is a decent trade, though, for OG. They have the roster wards to get the tower, and they need their Blink Dagger on the Panda.
They're closing in on it here. Miracle is farming well. That's the big win for OGs. It's been an entirely unchecked PL, and the team will look to fight around that.
Oh,
Not
man.
quite ready
the
to
dragon,
engage.
though, down here. This is not looking good for OG here. They need to get out. They need to
Alliance
find a way out of here.
Looking to get in, and they want, ideally, Miracle. They do manage to lasso him. The clap's not there. Quickly deleted. The quad bolt comes through, but there's a Brewmaster split to try and retreat. Moon, lockdown controlled, manages to get off a Doom, but it's on a Bulldog who already cast the lasso, and EGM there with the tether to heal him up to full HP. Even through the Doom, he's not taking damage. They may be able to get more. The Radiant Courier was sniped in the midst of this, but No Tail's going to drop now. Comes back to Earth and is dealt with. So 3 cores wiped off the planet. A clean sweep there for Alliance, and they even forced out a Brew split as well.
Oh, and Crit's getting relocated on as well.
They want a 4th. They're going to find Crit. They have the Rage available. Even the creeps aren't cooperating for OG in Game 2 Alliance.
The 3-man relocate. The infest with the relocate.
Back. That's pretty sexy.
Yeah, that looked really nice. And S4, during that entire engagement bottom, he had an Arcane Rune, so his ulti will be up relatively soon, and he's very close to that Orchid before Panda's even going to have a Blink Dagger.
Oh, things firing on all cylinders here for Alliance. With that big win in the bottom lane, S4 now topping the net worth chart.
We're cursing everybody. Whoever we pick ends up having a not so good of a time.
Well, series isn't over yet. So
Yeah, of course not.
And we picked different sides, so we can't say we've cursed anyone, Giannis. It's
True,
okay.
true.
Oh, a counter courier kill. That was a big one.
1,600 gold on it. That was the full Yasha finished up for Miracle, and yep, S4 kills it off. 2 minutes without that. It's going to slow down Miracle's farm a lot.
And can only be frustrating as well, because it's not like a common place for a Queen of Pain to just be camping by any means.
Yeah, and it looks like Fly actually might get his Blink Dagger before No Tail even does.
And it's like, oh, great. Our Shadow Shaman is a blink at 14 minutes. But when you realize it's coming at the cost of the Brew blink in some ways, is he's just not had a good time, it doesn't feel great.
Yeah, I feel like maybe they should have tried to put more pressure onto this Lifestealer lane, but it's really hard. I think the Lifestealer pick was just extremely good here because Doom gets kind of crushed by it when you get open wounds, Maledict as well.
And you have a Witch Doctor, so if you braid in the Enchantress, the creeps aren't going to be that effective.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, you look at it, it is probably why they chose to put the pressure elsewhere, but that didn't pan out.
Yeah, and Moon's just being extremely punished. Like, he has less than Crit had last time, and he's in offlane.
As AC was calling yesterday, a timeless trade here. Radiant going for a tower top, Dire looking for a Roshan, and I'm not sure we're going to see a contest.
Yeah,
Overall, are you favoring OG with this trade at least, getting the Aegis and...
They've got their
Some
Blink Daggers
effective.
finished up, so they can't fight, so they have to do something. That's the best trade they can do. They can't really go for that mid lane tower at this point. It's just not an optimal position to go into, and they already have taken out the 2 bottom towers.
Oh, S4, Orchid online, smoked up here with
Level
Ake.
11.
They have to relocate. They can have all 5 heroes here, courtesy of the Infest Pop, and they are prepping onto No-Tail, but has an Invis rune. Do they have detection for it? The relocate comes in, doesn't look like it. This could be a whiff. Still Bulldog's chasing. He has a lifesteal to unload, but if he deploys Loda too deep, he may end up just costing them a carry. And they are fighting into an Aegis, so they play it safe. They opt to back out. If there was no Invis rune there, it could have been real ugly for OG, though.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no D-wards, no sentries, no nothing on the side of Alliance there. But why would you have one there? And now Wisp picks up a full mech. 2,400 gold. Why not?
Oh, this is big. Gives them a lot of sustain with the Witch Doctor now, and he has been going back for some points to the Voodoo Restoration as they make a move on No-Tail. Orchid, this time the debut should be a resounding success. S4 pummeling No-Tail. Clips it right off. Not blinking away.
Yeah, it's looking kind of grim for OG. They've lost a lot of map control already.
Is there a point where like PL can just take over and be at that ticking time bomb, or do you feel like Alliance have answers even late into the game?
I think they definitely have answers leading late into the game. I've really liked the Queen of Pain pickup from the last pick, and S4 is just having a great game so far. Like Orchid finished up at the 14-minute mark. He's got 1,500 gold on him already. They have so much burst damage for that PL.
Yeah, shades of the old team secret when it was Arteezy, Shadow Fiend, S4 Quap almost every game.
Loda goes back for the drum. So Armlet drum and now another 1,600 gold. They're going for 3-man relocate top.
And they will move on the top lane. Bulldog here as well. Miracle already committed the doppelganger. And I don't think they needed the whole gang, but they'll bring it. Aegis once. And actually, they did, because all of OG is streaming in to counter-initiate.
They've got to get out.
They want to fight. Relocate's going to end. Bulldog blinks into the trees. The rest of Alliance scattered to the south. It's going to be a clean escape for Alliance from the looks of things. As OG, just a few seconds too slow there, smoking and desperately trying to find the jump. Oh, Fly! Just wildly planting the wards down.
Yeah, he hexed first, but he just, you know, it's just like an instinctual thing. You just try to get the pick off right away with the wards, and very unfortunate for him there, though. But at least,
I mean, Alliance
he got a creep
out,
wave.
they're like, hey, guys, for free wards.
He got a creep wave.
Someone go farm those. Is this going to be Midas Gaming from OG? We see one for the Doom. Do you think they consider another a no-tail, or is this just treads?
I think that's a Midas.
Is this a double Midas?
I guess they're feeling really pressured right now, and they know the only way that they can win this game is if it goes super late.
Alliance are so good at punishing greed, though. They've got the mobility, the silence, the relocate, the quick lassos.
They don't really have the best way to break the base. The best thing that can happen for them is, of course, getting the pick off with a Bat Rider into the base break, but just breaking a base is very difficult versus, well, with their heroes.
OG going to be sitting back. And we do see an overall switch from game one, where it was OG constantly applying pressure on the offense. This time around, it's Alliance doing the same thing. And now an Ancient Thunderhide enters the field of battle. Slam ready to go. Frenzy's always fun.
Yeah, and OG just sticking together. They don't want to get caught out in any way.
I guess the best thing they have to break the base is probably the Lifestealer creeps, come to think of it. And just raw sustain.
Yeah, I mean, EGM has so much already with this bottle and the mech and the urn already.
And we have often seen the carry Queen of Pains will go for the Assault Cuirass build eventually, which can help, but you're right. On paper, they're not the best at taking objectives.
Yeah, now Loda's just going to let his team push out the bottom lane, and he's just going to do this scouting mission as the Dragon, as the Thunderhide. And there's like no way they can kill that.
And if they do kill it, then suddenly there's 3 heroes here with the lifesteal, and you've committed a lot to bring it down.
Yeah. Yeah, they look... OG seems to be a little bit indecisive at this moment. They don't really know what they want to do. They can't really take fights. They're just afraid.
It's just such a cool way to use Lifestealer. Like, he's kind of like a Night Stalker with an Ags. I mean, not quite as much vision, but it feels like just super confident that he can scout anywhere. And they've got the reinforcements to punish if they see anyone. So he scouts top, kind of forces OG back by default, and that's while the rest of Alliance is taking objectives elsewhere. They take the tower bottom. They back away, so. But an unusual take on the hero, but very effective.
Yeah, but thankfully they're able to at least slow the pace down of the game, which they really need to do because they have the Midas on the Doom, and now they're going to be able to pick up some levels, which they very much so need.
There's the Maelstrom. So they're trying to build answers towards the PL.
Yeah, I mean, Miracle's having a pretty damn good game. He's gonna surpass the Queen of Pain on the net worth soon.
And no tail. He is not getting the treads for now. So it will be a double Midas with the PL boots of travel.
Yeah, he has to just, I mean, he just has to full commit on it. Where is he really going to find the farm? And now BKB already finished for S4.
They have some answers for BKB. Doom, Impetus being the big ones, or an instant Blink Hex, but Alliance have Relocate. So anyone who gets Doom could easily be brought out of the fight.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this is EGM we're talking about. We saw what he could do yesterday on IO.
Nice aggressive ward coming out from Alliance in that mid lane too. So they're catching the rotation from OG. Let's see if they try to get them in the fight. And they do. They get the smoke up and they're going right there.
They had vision. They just saw 3 OG heroes moving towards the southern side of the map. Fly already down there. The rest of the team en route to greet him. Looks like OG will pass by before Alliance cut them off. But Alliance were hoping they stopped to farm the jungle. And I think they may have seen the Firefly there for a moment. Ping's coming out anyway. If they didn't see it, they're suspecting it.
Yeah, now they're just going to... Alliance can just transition and take this top tier 2. And it doesn't... OG doesn't really have anything to gain in this bottom lane.
There's no tier 2. I highly doubt they get to the base before Alliance responds. In fact, maybe Alliance just keep on pushing top. We'll see.
They do have the items to do it now. They have a lot of sustain. They have the Witch Doctor heal. They have the Mac levels up on everybody. The Wisp is actually out-leveling... Our EGM is actually out-leveling Bulldog in this game.
So OG playing the keep away game. They have slowed it down, though. We're not seeing explosive numbers of kills piling up. If you look at the graphs where there was a ton of green dots peppering the bottom of the gold graph earlier, it's slowed down a lot. So it seems like they've overall stemmed the bleeding, but still Alliance slowly but surely accruing the gold advantage here. And the pings do come out. They see S4 still committed top lane, and it seems Alliance want OG to come out and play. They've seen one Midas, they've seen no new items on the No-Tail Brewmaster, and they want to punish.
Yeah, they get another good aggressive ward down up in that top lane.
Here we go. S4 the man in front. Really can't commit everything on the Queen of Pain with the relocate there.
But right
and
there,
as soon as
know,
they see
yep,
the TPs,
exactly.
they back out.
They just force them back to the base, and now they're going to go push out their lanes, get farm.
And if you start playing the mobility game, well, there's a Boots of Travel up on the Bat Rider. You've got relocate. Alliance can play that game all day. So a very slow-paced mid-game after... I mean, frankly, most of the games of this tournament have been very chaotic, Yannis, very action-packed and just oftentimes over-aggressive from some of the teams, but it's rare to see these prolonged stretches of calm farming. Who do you think it favors overall?
I mean, it helps OG because they really cannot fight at this point. So I think it favors OG for now, but overall it's still looking very, very good for Alliance. Level 11 finished up on Moon. Another smoke play coming out for OG.
Yeah, the Midas coming into play, whereas No-Tail still only level 10.
He'll have his Midas soon enough. They need to get like a pick off right here.
They smoked. EGM's there to
EGM.
reveal it. The impetus coming through. They do manage to get the Blink Hex fly. Catches out the IO and pops it.
Too bad No-Tail didn't get the kill. That would have been his Midas finished up there.
Still, OG, a small sign of life for them. And it's Wall Miracle continues to flash farm the woods. Manta complete, Diffusal online. This PL is getting big.
All their eggs in the Miracle Basket.
I feel like we've seen that movie before. Often ends well, to be fair, for OG. One of the few players you can put all your eggs in his basket, and he delivers quite often.
Yeah, the one good thing that they gained from that smoke in that toward that bottom lane was that they got 4 wards down. And now they're going to be able to pressure this mid tower, which is very good for them. But it looks like Alliance is trying to take the fight here.
They're going to scout out Ake, but remember that the whole team could arrive at any moment.
OG's like, get the hell out of there. We're not being
Ancient
a fight.
Creep just lumbering in. And you know that the relocate's seconds away if you overextend.
But you know, Loda is spending a lot of time kind of just running around doing this scouting information as this Ancient Creep, and his farm is starting to get hindered a bit by it. He has the Armlet, he has the Maelstrom, but only that's it so far. He hasn't really picked anything new up in a couple minutes.
Loda finally locks onto crit, though. Open Wounds comes through and Alliance shred him. Didn't have to commit anything aside from a relocate and a rage.
Oh, and they
on
get
the
fly.
trees. Oh, this is just as big. Second support going down here. Fly, trapped in the trees, getting juked, kited control. They didn't even use a lasso, so 2 essentially free kills for Alliance.
Yeah,
But it is the support duo.
Yeah, they had to use the relocate, but EGM
Could be
alone.
in trouble. There's a diffuse.
He's going down here.
OG strike back, 2 for 1.
There it is. He's got the Midas. It's coming out.
Oh yeah. I can just picture No-Tail yelling. Is that? Yes, finally.
He's like,
something.
finally. And
Kill that IO.
They do scout out that the Roshan respawned as well. S4 looking for an aggressive play in the mid lane, but Moon backs out. Moon also finished up a Blink Dagger, so the Midas is paying off for him.
It feels like Alliance isn't getting enough to rest too easy. You know, not to say that they're in danger of dropping the game by any stretch, but they're not racking up kills or objectives right now. And OG are playing keep away so well.
Yeah, they're doing...
What's missing for Alliance? Like, why are they not able to hem them in more? Is it a gem?
I think they're just... OG's doing a pretty good job of splitting them up. Miracle just keeps going to a different lane, pushing it out. Now he even has the Manta. He just throws the illusions on the creep wave, and then he just botches to a different wave. Rinse, repeat. They're doing a pretty damn good job of just splitting up a line so that they can't go into this high ground. Also, you don't really want to... I mean, if Alliance does go for that push and they die, that could basically be throwing the game because, like we were saying, their late game isn't terrible, but OG definitely has the better late game because they have so much control.
And
like
especially now with
panel.
double Midas as well as every, all the team fight potential in the PL that they already had.
Yeah, like there was, oh, here we go. This could be it.
The lasso comes and it will be on to Fly, dragging him down into the Roshan pit, has the wards, will not get them off. Roshan says, I want a piece of that action too, bringing down the Shadow Shaman, no buyback. And this may just secure a free Roshan. We'll see if they want to fight. Their team fight's pretty strong, but does No-Tail risk it? He's going to go in. He goes for the blade, but he gets Orchided. He's not going to get off an easy ultimate. In fact, he won't get up on it all. So now Miracle moves forward onto the IO of EGM. Will finish him off. So a 2 for 3 thus far. And they have not killed the PL, but with the Doom expanded,
Be
the
careful,
Brewmaster
Bulldog.
dead. No buyback. Can Miracle solo the whole team? He's going to bring down Bulldog. Now he turns on S4. He's also out of mana. S4 in trouble. Miracle ramping up. This prompts an EGM buyback to try and save the day. And Miracle keeps on going. He's got another Lance Diffusal Blade here as well. Moon, like, hey, maybe we could do this. The Miracle show's in town. But doesn't have a whole lot to offer.
That was really big for OG there.
Signs of things to come. They didn't get off the wards. They didn't get off the Bruce split. And they still make it, I believe a 3 for 3 it was, or 3 for 2, with a buyback as well on the EGMIO.
Yep. Still showing life.
Big gold swing, actually.
Yeah. It's looking a little bit scary. Not scary, I would say, for Alliance, but it's definitely starting to look like OG has a chance coming into this game.
And here's the issue. With no Queen of Pain ult, OG are just going to walk to the pit.
Roche. Yeah.
Can Alliance contest?
They do have Lasso. They are in position, but this could be a disastrous fight. There still is Panda ulti up.
Moon threatening for the flank. Lasso online, as you mentioned. Bulldog going to blink in. He's a little bit slow to draw out the lasso, and he does get purged. Now the impetus starting to come through. The ward's working on the Roshan, but he's not really low enough to commit to that. So instead, they're going to commit to Heroes. Jumping onto Ake. Miracle just poking on the side to the fight, but Loda goes rushing in directly onto Heroes. The rage about to end here, and now he can be dealt with by the mana burn. Miracle pretty low, actually. The nukes are adding up, and he might be in trouble. He's got a Diffusal Blade. He's going to try to retreat away from Bulldog, but the Flame Break comes through. He's going to have to turn and fight soon. Doppelganger, 3 seconds and counting. They push in Loda. They need one more auto tank over the tree line, up the cliff, and around the corner. Eva wants to go back in, but they're still chasing. He's going to need to be absolutely, well, not good enough. Close call, but he couldn't make it out. The Brewmaster split now over. They don't have the PL. He's got a buyback. Does he want to use it? Crit, silence, controls. One more imp. Bulldog pushing away, hoping for the uphill miss. Does not get it. But they do salvage the gem. Roshan still around half health.
However, there was no Sonic Wave there, but the Mjolnir did so much work. It cleared out the illusions instantly, and Miracle just wasn't able to build up the army that he needed for that fight. Doom wasn't up. Panda Split was off, but he wasn't really able to do anything with it because of the way the fight was just so split up.
Relocate coming in. They really want to secure this Roshan. And Miracle did have BOT buyback, but there wasn't a great creep wave to TP to, and would have been extremely all in play if they went for it. So OG, they'll accept the casualties they had, and they'll back away. Aegis does go to Alliance, and we've reset now. First, it looked like OG was closing the gap, and then Alliance brings it right back. We're on a 7,500 gold advantage, similar on the experience. But overall, I mean, it feels a lot more even than those numbers, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know if Moon maybe... I think he may have eaten the wrong creep, or if it's just the big creep, the big Alpha Wolf was dead, because he has the little, I think he has the mini Alpha Wolf, right? No, that's the giant one, but...
No, it's the little one, because he doesn't have the damage aura.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just the
Why does it say the giant wolf's ferocious attacks? Whatever.
I don't know.
EGM getting gone on top.
There's
Loda
the
also
Doom
gets
onto
doomed,
Loda,
but he has the
he's
Aegis.
Very tanky. I think he'll be fine. Still, it's not a big commitment here. They just get a free IO kill, but do they get out? Moon, blink away. S4 with the Shiva scouting for him. He blinks forward. He actually tracks him down, and Moon immediately going to TP out. Quap ult's at the ready, and he's not going to use it. Decides they need that team fight potential instead.
Yep. Miracle, though, still leading the top of the net worth.
You know, something interesting, we haven't talked about it, but just a small, we were talking about crit skill build last game. He has not taken any points in Untouchable. Versus Lifestealer, I guess, just not worth it.
There's so much spell damage, and then versus the Lifestealer, he's the actual only right clicker basically on the team. And he did that yesterday as well.
Yeah. I like the way Crit makes these, build adjustments. Seems like he does it more than most players. And
No tail. Getting relocated on.
the S4 trying to decide if he needs the ultimate. And while that's happy, they also found Fly on the north end of the engagement, a quick double pick, and there's no buyback on the Brewmaster. So Miracle's Illusions frantically trying to cut the wave mid, but there's a little bit for Alliance to work with. They can break into the base and do some structural damage here. Glyph is available. They'll need to stall. Got to be careful not to get caught. No, actually, do have the lasso.
They need to clear that creep wave out somehow.
Yeah, I had a couple illusions slowing it down, and they are working with impetus damage onto S4, but there's a lot of sustain here, a lot of heals. The tether, the Voodoo Restoration, and they're back up to full HP. Buying time for the brewery spawn, and now the Rage. Commitment here from Alliance. They just want objectives. Tower down, they'll back away and reset, and they may just stop because Brewmaster's coming up in 8 seconds. No, they're sticking around. They really want this. The impetus damage being mostly negated. They still hold the Aegis now.
Glyph was used.
No Glyph. No way out of this one. Fly's going to try to force the fight. Goes in with the Hex, but they've already gotten Rax. And now the Open Woods comes on to Fly. Still a couple seconds before the wards are up. The Brewmaster split in the backlights. Moon retreating. No Doom for 5. This timing's just not quite right for OG, but Miracle gets into the backlights. Almost finishes up. Okay, not quite. Kept alive. The tether heal. It's too much. They can't finish the job. And now Miracle gets lassoed. S4's been doomed. He's able to jump away to the left, but S4's healthy, whereas Miracle 8. Bulldog on the hunt. Maledict taking him down. Blinking forward, trying to finish off the PL. Everybody's so low. They get the kill. 3. Fly back to base, but it's 3 down.
Go.
All the ults down. This might just be it.
Yeah, they're going to go for this mid-racks, top-racks, and it looks like it might just be it. I don't think the Phantom Lancer was just quite enough.
Massive swing here in momentum. It only took those 2 picks. No buyback on Brewmaster. To a lesser extent, the Shadow Shaman and OG. They had no way to defend.
Yeah, they don't really have anyone else. They have the Phantom Lancer. They have the Doom. They have the Panda Split, but it's just not enough with no items.
You know, looking at these two teams and how they match up, a lot of people would have said if they had to predict it, neither team's going to get IO. The hero's just too good for both, but they got it. They've used it well, and they built a whole strategy around it. The Lifestealer, a cute addition as OG desperately try to hold on to their base. Ake being hounded out of it. No Tail in a lot of trouble. Loda marching in. The Quap ult slams the door on him. Now Fly having to back up. They do pop the Aegis, but S4 is just exploding. The kill
Lots
chart
of
in
buybacks.
blue. OG are all in on this defense. They've already lost 2 lanes of Rex. Crit could well be next. Try to turn on to Loda. The impetus damage stacking up. They're holding the line for now. OG not ready to give up the goose. It's a triple for S4. Total buybacks, PL committed, Shadow Shaman as well. They want the S4 kill too. He has one more Blake, he drops it now, and I'm not sure they can get in range. They're gonna give up on it. And there's no Roshan to grab here. Pretty critical damage done to the racks and structures in general.
I feel like Alliance just going for that third racks was a bit greedy there. You know, they just were like, wow, we feel so much more powerful now. We got to force the PL buyback, and maybe a bit of an overcommitted there, but still looking very good for them.
OG pushing out the mid lane, but from here, it really feels like it's Alliance's game to lose.
Yeah, the Mjolnir pickup was actually just so perfect for Lifestealer. You can obviously think that he would do that versus a Lifestealer.
And they're getting more late game insurance now. S4 building, not until the Scythe device or even like an Agonist, but he goes for an MKB, so won't have to worry about the Drunken Haze, won't have to worry about the evasion of the Brewmaster, and it's going to hit like a truck.
Yeah, he's just making sure they have another physical damage dealer on top of everything.
What's the safest way for Alliance to close this one out?
If they can get a pick off here on any of the buybacks.
Just kill a hero.
Yeah, one of the heroes that bought back especially.
Bulldog, he hears you. He hears you, man. He's going to go in with the lasso on the moon. Silenced up by S4. Beautiful focus in the middle of this fight. Right-clicking down Crit, who actually forced that to the low ground. Won't make it out. This just might be the GG call from OG. Getting run over. Even the Brewmaster split knows no mercy, no escape. There's no mercy from Alliance. They'll kill him off even as the Earth Panda he dies. And it seems only fitting that at this point, it's Miracle versus 5. It's not going to happen. OG, call it. And we are headed into a deciding game number 3. This one, a beatdown.
Yeah, just Alliance winning 2 out of 3 lanes way too heavily.
Yeah, but Alliance, it's business as usual from them. They lost game 1. Not looking like they're cocky by any stretch. They know they have a 3rd game to take, and this series feels very even right now.
Yeah, I feel like it was really hard because Moon wanted to do all he could to stay in that lane to try to just like pressured a bit while Crit was the Enchantress obviously taking the jungle. So he didn't really have anywhere that he could go to recover. So then I think the safe lane actually basically won them the game. The way the Witch Doctor and the way Ake and Loda played it was just perfect.
It seemed like the entire draft was a great game plan for Enchantress ganks. If you gank the Witch Doctor's late, he's got a cast. Lifestealer's pretty self-sufficient or hard to kill anyway. Queen of Pain has the Blink and was being supported by Io. And then the Bat Rider has Firefly and is very good at revealing those ganks because of the ability to play around the cliffs. And we saw that first smoke gank failed. It just seemed like
it was the two smoke ganks because Enchantress went for the top one as well, and the Bat Rider spotted him out because they were going for the stack timing, and then they go for that bottom one, which would have probably secured them that tower, that objective that they really wanted, but they run into a Wisp and a Bat Rider, and they're like, oh, crap.
So Enchantress couldn't really gank. Then you're running a Doom off lane who, left alone, gets punished. Brewmaster versus Queen of Pain, that's not a matchup you're going to win. So just by countering the Enchantress, it became Miracle versus the world.
Yeah, things just didn't really go OG's way that game.
Well, with that, we'll see if they have something up their sleeve for game number 3. But Alliance has struck back, and they've pushed it to the full 3-game series. You're watching the Starletter Invitational. The analysts are going to come right back after this, break it down, and get you ready for that deciding game.
E-gaming bets. We accept bets.